when I started studying nakshatras, that was way back 3 years ago, I kind of scanned all the literature that was available in English at that time. And I must have reviewed, many, many books. After reading most of those books, I almost gave up on my study. And then finally what happened is someone suggested me this book on nakshatras. And when I started reading this book, I was slowly able to understand the essence of nakshatras. It was as though I was totally connected with this author. I never had a chance to meet this author. I never corresponded with him. I never interacted with him. And in all the nakshatra courses that I've been teaching over the last 1.5 years, I have referred to him as my Dronacharya, and I am his Ekalavya. So our guest today needs no introduction, right? So please help me welcome Prash Trivedi. Welcome, Prash.
Yes, Arjun. When I actually took out the book, which was a few years before you actually read it,
yeah,
not much on nakshatras at all. You said just 3 years ago there was not much.
Yeah,
I would say 10 years ago there was nothing at all.
Absolutely,
pretty much 10, 15 years ago it was nothing there. And the thing was, even in Parashar, Horashastra, just the names are there basically.
Correct.
And not much is there after that. Because those texts, we have only fragments of it. What the rishis actually said at that time, and that whole thing is not there right now for us to go through. So these are basically Wild West kind of times. Then when you don't have that, then you have to find things out yourself. There's nothing else the text is not there, those rishis are not there. Okay, so you basically have to start looking at the multiverse which you are in and start finding out things for yourself. So that's how it started. For me, with the nakshatras, for example, it is since moon transits one nakshatra every day,
right?
They became sort of an easier thing. Every day you can look at the energy and then glean things about it and get a picture. Once I did this for over a series of 12 cycles, that's 1 year.
Right.
There was enough of a picture forming, for each one. Their general basic.
So tell me, Prash, because when I started 3 years ago, and I was telling there was not much material available. So when you did this, maybe 10, 15 years ago, when you started studying and writing about nakshatras, how did you come about? I mean, did you have a lineage where you studied a parampara in which you studied about nakshatras, or did you have a guru, or what was it? What was the technique?
Nothing like that. Yeah. The thing is, I was not a book reader I'm not a book reading kind of person. And whatever books were there in Jyotish at the time, they were very strange kind of books anyways. All kinds of things. Okay, this planet is in this house, this will happen, or something strange is going to happen. Strange stuff was written. You can't make any sense out of head or tails out of that anyways. And paramparas and stuff are not there anyways right now.
Right.
That doesn't exist anyways. So that's what I said, you have to face the fact that it is wild west. You'll have to find out for yourself, I'm saying. If people are saying they're coming from this or that thing, even in Indian classical, they say they're coming from this parampara or that thing. But when they play music, they can't make rainbows happen, or they can't that thing. They can't make rain happen or anything so they can't actually do anything. So no matter what parampara you come from, that makes no difference right now. The actual thing is not there. Even in Indian classical or that thing, it's just annoying, it's like mosquitoes are buzzing or something like that.
Right.
Kind of sound. There's nothing which is happening really. Yeah. These things have become more of a joke now. So rather than any kind of real serious thing, you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Real serious thing can only be an individual initiative now, where an individual takes an initiative to say okay, I'm here, I'm on this planet Earth, and I'm surrounded by this whole thing, and I don't know what it is, and I'm going to try and find out. So that basic urge has to be within an individual directly. And from that urge, they can do that and find those things out. When Brahma first came into being, he didn't know who he was. So then he has to take the individual initiative by himself to find out all of that. He has to do the tapasya for it. We are at that situation where we are in that way. And there is nothing in the previous which you can bank on right now. That this is there or that is there. So I took it like that.
Right.
I didn't go by anything which was there. It is totally finding out for yourself.
This is very, very fascinating because you said 12 cycles of the lunar cycles is what you observed, and that is how you learned. So this is very fascinating. So can you tell us more about,
The only other, the only other element one needs is tapasya.
Right. Okay.
So if you have tapasya, then your observation and stuff will be more deep. If you don't have tapasya, then you won't have it that deep. Like, okay. I mean, that way, if a normal person starts observing them and things like that, then they might not they might get confused.
Right.
Confusion might happen, like, okay, this is happening, that is happening, what is going on? Like, all those kind of things will happen. So that's where tapasya is very important. That's why I always stress on the basics. Like, you have to have right food, like you have to have like right posture, right speech, lot of right things you have to do first before you can actually start studying anything. Or earlier times, I'll give you an example. Rishikos, when people used to go to rishis, the first 4-5 years, the rishis would just make them sit down in a proper posture and just make them do ahs, oos, normal vowels properly for 5 years. For 5 years, they would do nothing but do these center their mouth, center their speech, make sure their ucharan is right, make sure they understand phonetics, make sure they understand these basic things. Like they got the basic building blocks in place.
Right.
In the first place. Yeah, which is like a basics, and then from there you can do tapasya. Once you have the basics in place and all of that, which is what one should go for, like Jim saying, rather than jumping to tertiaries. Like Jyotish and stuff are tertiary knowledges, like very tertiary.
Right.
They're not primary. Like primary things are other things, then they're secondary things, then they're tertiary things. But right now people want to jump from tertiary.
Tertiary.
Yeah, but they don't want to do any basics. Nobody wants to do any basics. Like even if you go to Ayurvedic person or that thing, they'll say, okay, you'll have to have this diet, basic diet or something like that. But people don't want that. That's why they go to the allopathic, because you can eat anything and then take the medicine and you'll be fine. Like Jim saying. So there's a general running away from basics and root things. But a plant grows from the root.
Yeah.
The plant grows from its top or like branches or anything like that. So the whole thing is like, you have to approach the whole thing in a holistic manner.
Right.
Because like Jyotish is one part of knowledge of which is so many knowledges are there, which is like phonetics, mathematics, so many science and so many things like music, alchemy, numerology, things which are connected to it.
Right.
If you don't have a broader perspective on it, then you will get boxed in to a small zone.
Correct.
And then whatever your perception of nakshatras or signs or anything will be limited to that zone. I mean, now people will think, oh, like which nakshatra will make a police officer better and which nakshatra will make a this thing. I mean, just stay at that kind of level. Mrikshara, for example, which is about going into forests and having journey through forests and beautiful places. Mrikshara is about like beautiful places and beautiful nature kind of thing. Like
people haven't understood that this, the way you are trying to explain. I think. Yeah. You throw more light on it. I mean, when you say Mrigashira, you always think about the head of the deer or the stag. Yeah. So, but there was more to it. So what is that?
Yeah. I mean, look, you can see that even the deer stays in forests only.
Yeah.
So deer stays in nice places like forests, and it stays in a nice kind of way only. Like it is not that thing. So Mrigashira energy, like right now, if people use it for traveling, like okay, so Mrigashira person will be traveling more.
Yeah.
But then where are they traveling to? They might be traveling to theaters or maybe just going to markets and now, but which will not be the original meaning of that.
Right.
Which is to do with forests and nice places only. Places which are good for your energy, which are good for your body, which are good for your mind. Like, so that the whole meaning,
right,
the whole thing gets changed. And in that way, how the energy is utilized gets changed too.
Right. So okay. Do you mean to say that suppose moon is transiting Mrigashira Nakshatra? Yeah. And those days would be good days for you to go into a park, be closer to Mother Earth, enjoy the sunshine and all of that. Yeah. We can absorb the energies of Mrigashira better.
Yes. For any kind of travel through any nature, Mrigashira is the best thing. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And Rohini is also good for it, but it moves slowly. Rohini moves at a bullock cart pace.
Right. I got it.
What is the pace of Rohini? Rohini's pace is slowly like, I don't know if you have ever traveled in a bullock cart or not, but it is a very, very slow thing. Like,
in India, we always see the bullock carts.
Yeah, Mrigashira is quite fast by comparison.
There are mythological stories where they say, Rohini Nakshatra was supposed to be or the favorite spouse or the consort of moon, and he spent. I always ask many researchers, and is there something that has got to do with moon transiting Rohini because of which there is, the nakshatra, the constellation might have a greater gravitational pull, and maybe moon kind of slows down, and it looked to our ancestors as though moon was spending more time in Rohini. Is there some connection like that, or is it something?
It's something else. I'll tell you. First, let's go with mythology. Like mythology to me is like my truth. A TH is there, but you just expand a TH, you get truth. My truth. Mythology. Like so, mythology is the only truth we have.
Correct.
All the things which we are taught in school and science, they all false anyways. Like whatever we are taught in school or whatever we are being taught out there is wrong and false anyways. Mythology is the only truth there is in this multiverse, which actually explains this multiverse and which tells realities about it.
Right.
So it's now it's called a myth. Myth means something false or not real or something like that. When it is the actual real thing, the only real thing. Okay. So after clearing that up, like the Rohini thing, like I mean, just if you just brought it up, so I'll tell you, like the thing with Rohini is why it is the favorite of the moon and why is it so that thing alluring is because it has moon Venus energies combined.
Right. Okay.
Now, moon, Venus are what? Moon is a feminine planet.
Correct.
Venus is a feminine planet.
Yeah.
So you're double feminine.
Right.
So that is the most attractive automatically. Where the double feminine has been combined, then that's what makes it attractive. Where that is there, like it will enhance beauty in a feminine way.
Correct.
The most, like even if you say Pusha, like but Pusha is Saturn, Moon and Saturn.
Yeah.
Okay. So it can't have that allure of Moon Venus. Pusha has got similar kind of energies, but still it can't be Moon Venus, like you'd say. So again, like in Richard has Moon Mars, right? So that's different.
Pushya Nakshatra is auspicious for doing all activities except marriages. So why is that marriages? What is your opinion? What is your interpretation?
The word marriage, like the term marriage, like we have to understand what context are we talking about marriage. Are we talking in a modern context? Are we talking in an Indian context? Are we talking in a Western context? Are we talking in a Vedic context? The word marriage comes from Mars actually. The concept of Mary, which is Mary, which is actually the sea.
Right.
Okay. So that's why the laws out there are called maritime laws and things like that. But that is a totally different topic. But it comes from that root. Right. And Mars is the planet, which is that thing. Yeah. And now people won't understand that how is Mars related to oceans? And that thing, the word which is that thing, which are connected to that, is like to do with alchemy, like in the sense like if you have two nadis inside of you, Ida and Pim, they marry together in the third eye, your Agya Chakra.
Right.
Okay, so that's marriage. Okay, of the left and right side of you.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, when this word marriage is used, like I'm saying, if people don't know what they're talking about, like the modern concept of marriage, which is the Indian concept, which is like arranged marriage,
right?
Which was not there in scriptures anyways. Vedic scriptures don't carry anything like arranged marriage anyway.
Right.
So there's Gandharva Vivah, Rakshas Vivah, there's Swayamvar, there is all these things, but there is no arranged marriage. So how can nakshatras be associated or associated with any of that? I would say no nakshatra is associated with the modern form of marriage. Whether it's Ashwini, whether it's Bharani, or whether it's anything. Like, I mean, none of them are. Like, I mean, you can't, like, so whether they're good or bad for it is just nonsense because none of them are even associated with it. If you're doing nonsense, you can do it in any nakshatra. Like, it'll be nonsense in the multiversal terms anyways.
So I guess
karmas which you will get bad results from.
Right.
You will get bad results. Even if your marriage lasts, you'll get bad results. If it doesn't last, you'll get bad results. I mean, you'll never get good results out of doing nonsense in the multiverse. Right. That is never going to happen, no matter what nakshatra you do it in. It makes no difference.
We have boxed these nakshatras with certain activities, which was not actually true, isn't it?
It's not just boxed. Like it's like trying to take a system, which is a multiversal, it's an actual Shakti law system, and trying to somehow put it into your own box,
right?
Which is totally opposite of what the whole multiversal law is.
Right.
So you're somehow trying to squeeze that into it,
right?
Which is like a thankless exercise, and it will yield no result in the end. It is not going to yield any results. This kind of thing,
Right.
So I mean, that's why I said like the whole Indian way is 180 degree opposite of the Vedic way. 180 degrees. Okay, like right now, like if like Holi, for example,
Yeah.
was a festival where, which is now there in India, everybody knows it, and people are just throwing colors at each other.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the story? Story is that Prahlad went against Hiranyakashipu.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do what his father was telling him. Then Hiranyakashipu tried to kill him, but he couldn't kill him or anything. He couldn't do any harm to him. So
Right.
that's the story, right?
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is one should not listen to one's parents.
Right.
Okay, that is the moral of the story.
Right.
Okay. But here in India, on Holy Day, would you see that people are holding banners, one should not listen to one's parents?
Right.
I mean, I'm not seen it, like June said. I mean, up till now, I mean, I've never seen that kind of thing happening, So,
Right.
I mean, people are, I mean, I don't know what is that to do with throwing colors at each other or eating sweets or people are like hugging each other. I mean, like, what is that got to do with the fact that one should listen to divine, not one's parents?
Correct.
But then, because Indian way is one has to listen to one's parents.
Yeah.
Because that is the Indian, that thing, which has got nothing to do with the Vedic way.
Yeah.
Again, 180 degree opposite. Yeah. Yeah.
So-
like if your parents are going to hell and their brains have gone crazy and they are like that thing, why would you listen to them? Unless you want to go to hell too. I mean, is there no divine in this multiverse? Parents are nothing. Like you're saying, all Vedic things say that. Like in that kind of thing. Like there's, I mean, even in Gita, Krishna was telling Arjun that even none of these people are anything. If they take the side of the wrong, then that's it. Like it doesn't matter if it's your guru, if it's your relative, it's your that thing. None of these things matter. But even Gita has been twisted around 180 degree, like everything. So the same thing they're trying to do with nakshatras.
And what was the Vedic way of understanding the nakshatras? So if you can.
Okay. For example, like for example, if we take Ashwini.
Yeah.
Okay, Ashwini are healers, right? Somebody says, okay, you have Ashwini in your chart, you should become a doctor now. I mean, doctor means like they'll be giving poisons. Allopathic medicines are poisons. They'll be giving poisons to other people. Now, how will that be healing them? That will be making them more sick. So the same energy will become perverted and convoluted. Something which was for some positive, that thing, will become negative in the current day use and stuff like that.
Ashwini was associated with healers. Do you think it's because of Ketu being the co-lord of the 8th house of Scorpio from Aries? Do you
It was
think?
associated because of Ashwini Kumaras first. Now, Ashwini Kumaras are born straight from the sun and they have horses.
Yeah.
They move.
Right.
Now, if you know the sun's light on earth does all the photosynthesis.
Right.
And all the plants come out of suns. Like that's where the sun rays come and then the whole photosynthesis happens. That's what herbs are.
Right.
Those plants are herbs.
Correct.
So if sons are there who knows about this process and they know what herb is what, then they will know which plant gives what.
Wow.
And then they have motion, then they can move and help people because they have motion.
Right.
So they have two things. They have knowledge of the herbs and then they have motion. And it's fast.
It's fast.
Their fast nakshatras are like Hasta is fast, Pusha is fast, Ashwini is fast. No, those are fast. Like, so you have to understand why this is coming from. It's from a solar point, and that's where sun comes into play for the first time. It's the sunrise.
Right.
First rays of the new sun. It is Ashwini. Like, that's when out of the Pisces ocean, sun comes out.
Oh wow.
And it begins, and that's where its maximum exaltation and everything is because of that.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
And they are suns and all of that. Like, so it is because of that. If you combine so many things in it, like you will find out why it fits and why it is healing. So,
And
like, I mean, for people who are shivering the whole night and stuff, it's cold and that thing. When the first sun rays come, it's like warming, some warmth and stuff comes to it.
Can you tell me, what is your interpretation? Why do you think Pushya is a Shipra nakshatra? Is there any interpretation, or do you have any ways to think why Pushya?
I mean, if you've seen a crab on the
Right.
how fast does crab move?
It's very slow.
A crab moves very fast. It has side movement.
Yeah.
Like if you
Okay. Yeah.
The crab moves very fast.
Right.
Like, and zigzags and it's sideways and backwards like that. So
Right.
Pushya is like that.
Ah, right. Okay.
So it is the crab part of that sign, like Karp sign, Karp Rashi. It is the crab part of it. It is the fast moving part of it. It is like, and it's a zigzag motion. It's like the motion of the mind.
Right. Right.
How fast mind is, sort of. That's how fast Pushya is.
Abhijit. And what is Abhijit? What is Abhijit?
I mean, it doesn't need to be fast. It's okay. Victory has been achieved. When you have achieved the victory, you just stand in one place and just say, yeah, like that. You won. There's no need to move even at all.
Okay. Okay.
The battle is over. Victory is done. You have gotten the victory and matter ends. Like, at that time. People, I mean, when people are saying that thing, they don't understand what it is about. Like, they're not using any common sense about the whole thing.
Right.
About the whole thing in the first place. So, I mean, but again, all of these things come because of the lack of basics, I said. Like,
correct.
Lack of common sense and stuff like that. I mean, so whatever things are not Vedic, are not as per Vedic things and stuff, which are there right now, that meaning is very convoluted. The whole thing applies to nakshatras too.
Right.
If you start studying nakshatras, the same nonsense goes into them too.
Right.
It doesn't stay out of that paradigm, And as far as knowing is concerned, for example, Uttara Falguni, the axis.
Yeah.
It will race to the pole star. It relates to the axis. Okay. But if you don't understand what axis is, then you can't know anything about Uttara Falguni actually. What is an axis? You don't know whether Earth has an axis. Like what is the central pole of the Earth, and what is that related to? What is the central axis around which the whole Brahman or different realms stay? If you get all of that knowledge, then you'll understand and how it is related to its different pole, which is Uttara Bhadrapad.
Right.
The axis moves from Uttara Falguni to Uttara Bhadrapad. Both are axis nakshatras.
Right.
And they are 180 degrees opposite to each other. That's why, so the line connects. If those 2 points connect, then you get an axis.
It is quite funny because when I did this about, I have seen a lot of correlations between Uttara Falguni and Uttara Bhadrapada, because if you look even at the animal symbol, one is the male cow or the bull, which is Uttara Falguni, and then right opposite is the female cow.
Uttara Bhadrapada. Because they are the axis. They are the axis nakshatras. They are the two axis nakshatras. Okay, like in my chart, like my moon and Mars are in one. Moon is in Uttara Falguni and Mars is in Uttara Bhadrapada. They are at exact same degree. The 7 degrees both. So they are forming an exact like axis. And Uttara Bhadrapada is the ocean of the world. Right. It is like the world ocean from which the whole root comes, and then you have the top, the Mount Meru.
Wow.
So we have the depth of the whole ocean to the Mount Meru, and that's the axis around which everything churns.
Fantastic.
So it's this churning axis in which that's why they show like a lotus and Brahma sitting on it, or Vishnu holding the thing from the bottom. The whole axis around the churning of the ocean happens. Everything. So that whole mythology of that comes into play with those two nakshatras. Again, so people won't understand what these things are until you open your mind up to the other things, so your knowledge of nakshatras is as much you know about other things actually,
which is very, very fascinating. You told me about Mount Meru. I didn't know about Mount Meru, but what I could connect with these two is both Uttara Falguni and Uttara Bhadrapada. Both are, Urdhva Mukha nakshatras, which is they are facing upwards.
They are the ones on which they're the axis around which the whole thing spins. Samudra Manthan happens.
Wow.
Okay. Comes out of all of that. So that is the axis actually. Okay.
But that is why people kind of correlate, I think, Uttara Bhadrapada with Lakshmi as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, Uttara Falguni too.
Uttara Falguni and Uttara Bhadrapada, that axis.
Both, because that's where the churning is happening from.
Wow.
They're the axis from which it churns, the whole thing. So
now, it kind of
becomes Sushumna in your body. And if your Sushumna is becoming bigger only, and that's when the Kundalini rises, that's when you open the third eye. Everything happens on axis only. In body, Sushumna is the central axis. In the whole multiverse, this Mount Meru axis is there. So the axis is the most important concept with those two nakshatras. Purva Bhadrapada also, like if people don't know about all kinds of different things which are happening in this world, what they call black magic or different tantric acts, and there are a lot of kind of things which manipulation of Shakti in many manners. If you don't know anything about it, then you won't know anything about Purva Bhadrapada. You will have very limited knowledge about it. Like for a normal person, Purva Bhadrapada will be like a lot of stress, strain, uncomfortable situations and things like that. Because Purva Bhadrapada is an energy which is a strong, intense energy, right? And normal people don't want to cope with. So in normal people's chart, if Purva Bhadrapada is there, it is all just like trouble to them. That planet is causing me problem, like you know saying, that's all. Because Purva Bhadrapada demands like discipline. Like whenever you do any siddhi or anything, you have to have discipline. Okay. That's the first thing anything demands. And Purva Bhadra demands that. Okay, so if you don't have discipline, you will fail or bad things will happen to you and all kinds of things will happen immediately. It's a very cut, that thing. So, but when I put it in the nakshatra, people think that I'm actually villainizing it, that nakshatra. You know, like, or putting it in too dark a light. But that's a fact of the nakshatra, that it is an intense energy. And it has to be, if you have it, you will have to have that discipline to go with it. You cannot, it's nothing which you mess about with. With some other nakshatras, you can get away with things mildly, which fit into the box. And even in this world, there's so many things which happen. There's so many wars and so many strange things, so many rituals, so many sacrifices are being done. All kinds of things are happening, which come under Purva Bhadra, but which people don't even come to know. Like, why are these wars happening? What is the reason for this? All of that, like, people just don't know. So there are a lot of hidden things behind things. And if you don't have that consciousness, which is knowing those things, you can't interpret a nakshatra like Purva Bhadra, for example. The same with Ashlesha. Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought about Purva Bhadrapada, because this has been a very mysterious nakshatra. I found this Purva Bhadrapada nakshatra the toughest to actually understand and, you know, kind of comprehend.
Arjun, the thing with Purva Bhadra, there's so many things. It's like Shiv Ganas. The Shiv Ganas are ruled by Purva Bhadra.
All right. Okay.
No, Shiv Ganas are all scary things for normal people. Like, Shiv Ganas are the most scary things. Like, okay, like
the Gauls, the Buddha, he was called as Buddha.
All those things, all those things are come under Purva Bhadra now. Okay.
Right.
When Shiv produced, at the time when he had that thing with Daksh, when Daksh didn't bow to Shiv, and that whole thing happened. So when Shiv produced that energy and sent it to Daksh, then Daksha's head was cut off by that energy at that time, which she created. That all happens under Purva Bhadra.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know
all of that. Okay. I mean, so again, that's the whole thing. Purva Bhadra is so, it comes to certain kind of things which people would rather run away from. Because people right now are behaving like Daksha themselves.
Right.
Okay.
Like headless chicken. People are moving in circles like headless chicken.
And they're behaving like Daksha themselves, that they're not acknowledging divine. What did Daksha do? It did not acknowledge Shiv and his divinity.
Correct.
Okay. And beings right now, they don't actually acknowledge divinity right now. So they are the same position as Daksh. And what will happen to them? Then will be same thing what happened to Daksh. So Purva Bhadra will bring that, all that destruction onto them and all of that, which nobody wants to face.
The symbol associated with Purva Bhadrapada is a two-faced man. Do you think that these people have kind of a dual nature or something? The two-faced?
Two-faced, like dual nature will happen in the sense that, it's like a corporate right now. Just wearing suit and tie, okay, and then they will sell you poisons and they'll sell you arms, they'll sell you this thing, it's that kind of thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It appears like worldly and reasonable.
Right.
But what is happening in the background is not. And like the activities of CIA, FBI, or any of these things, I mean, they're just people are with suits and stuff all the time, but there's a lot of stuff which is going on which nobody wants to know about really. You know, so there's a whole, that thing to Purva Bhadra, like that. Right. It's the kind of thing which most normal people anyways don't want to go into. Even like in India, like if somebody doing a city in a shamshan or something like that.
In a crematorium.
Yeah, or whatever, that is Purva Bhadra, comes under Purva Bhadra. You know, I mean, that has nothing to do with normal people. Anyways, again.
Can people utilize the energies in a better way for a Purva Bhadra?
Purva Bhadra is simple. Bow to higher and divine. Purva Bhadra will not give any problem. What does Daksha have to do? He have to bow to Shiv. Matter ends, like you're saying, just do that and Purva Bhadra won't give you trouble. If you keep your head up and don't, then Purva Bhadra is there. Like,
wow.
Yeah, so it's a very simple thing. The things are very simple actually, but again, people don't do that. So like to understand Shiv and its divinity and that thing and all of that requires some kind of sense as well, which people don't have right now. They think Shiv is like they're going to some temples. They don't even know anything about Shiv. Like Indians go to Shiv temples all the time, but they don't know anything about Shiv. They don't understand what a third eye open thing is like or whatever. They have no idea of these things. So like they will not even come to know. Like, so all their worship is fake worship. When you do false worship and that thing, then Purva Bhadra hits at you.
Right.
Okay. So Purva Bhadra is a dangerous energy that way, you know, like, and that's why it's such a dangerous sign for normal people. The same thing is with Ashlesha and things like Vishaka, for example, or Ashlesha. We take Vishaka first.
Right.
You know, it's an obsessed nakshatra. In one word, it's obsession.
Vishaka is obsession. Okay.
Obsession. If you have to say one word for Vishaka, there's only one word. Obsession. No, but now then you have to choose what are you going to be obsessed about?
Right.
So if you are obsessed about higher and divine things, then it's good.
Right.
But if you are obsessed about nonsense, then it's bad. But there's no other way for that. But it's an extreme energy because it is obsessed. Not when it gets obsessed, it gets obsessed.
That's right.
A lot of people, when they get obsessed about certain things, then they can't leave it.
Right.
Once it feeds into it, it doesn't know how to let go. So a lot of people in Vishaka will be committing suicides and stuff like that. Because, they tried to go into this exam or something and then they didn't qualify or clear, and then think they'll try again, or if 2-3 times they don't go, then they'll commit suicide.
Right.
So that's the negative aspect of it. But I don't know how to sugarcoat that.
Right.
It's what it is.
Do you see a lot of competitiveness there as well, because it is Indragni, right? The deity, the archetype is Indragni. So I have seen a lot of Vishaka natives having this. It's a Mishra nakshatra, mixed, sharp as well as soft. So do you see the mixed qualities in obsessions even with?
It's not like, but obviously it's not. It's soft compared to Purva Bharat.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Comparison to Purva Bharat.
Yeah.
Purva Bharat is next level energy of Vishaka.
Okay. And where do you place Ashlesha then amongst these three?
Ashlesha is a Kundalini energy and serpentine energy and things like that.
Right.
Ashlesha is sexual energy and all of those things. Can be used properly or can be misused. Again, both things can happen with Ashlesha.
Mm-hmm.
So Ashlesha can be like a devious, like a snake,
Correct.
Yes, like a snake, like that thing. So it is either the serpent will move upwards as a Kundalini, or it will just do devious things. So both things, aspects are there. There's no way to, and since in modern times, not many people use the nakshatras positively.
Correct.
So the negative aspects are more come out anyways, because people don't know how to use the energies of the nakshatras properly anyway. So some people thought that I had painted some nakshatras in more dark light in my book, but they are just like that. They are harder for normal people, which I call muggles, to deal with. So if they have Ashlesha, Vishaka, Purva Bhadrapada, it's a tougher chart for people than with other energies as compared to other energies. That's why I said that in that way, in my book. That was my reasoning for it. It's not like that they don't have positive aspects. Vishaka is the obsession. You can obsess about that thing. And what we already talked about competition.
Yeah.
Competition is a form of obsession only. Yeah, what else is it but a form of obsession only?
And how can you use the Ashlesha energy in a better way? Now you've said it's a Tikshna nakshatra, it's a sharp, dreadful nakshatra, but how can the people of Ashlesha...
If somebody is coming to the center, if you center your energy as a being, then the Sushumna will become wider and the Kundalini will rise.
Right.
So that's how you use Ashlesha energy. You have to center.
Right.
You can't be sided. You can't be talking from one side of your mouth. You have to be talking from the center of your mouth. The more discipline you do in centering, Ashlesha energy won't affect you negatively. Which is what I told you Rishis taught.
Correct.
Their disciples and stuff in the first 4 or 5 years even itself. So after that, Ashlesha energy has no negative connotation for you.
Right. And you also stressed on phonetics. Phonetics is very, very important. So how have you used phonetics? For example, talking about Swati Nakshatra. How do you use phonetics in Swati Nakshatra?
Okay, Swati, let's say so many things. Swati is, it's related to Saraswati because just by names, right?
Right.
Saraswati, Sarah, and Swati. And Sarah became Abraham and Sarah in the normal thing. So Abraham was Brahma and Sarah is Saraswati. And Swati is all the musicality of Saraswati will be there in Swati Nakshatra and things like that. The musical inclination, you find out from there. Swa, Ati. Swa means self. Self-going. Ati, self-going. Right. Yeah, so you can tell that it's self-going, that kind of thing. It is the Vayu aspect.
Right.
Vayu is also self-going.
Right.
In that way. And then the whole thing about phonetics is each nakshatra is connected to some sounds. So if the Pa sound is there with P sound is there with Uttra Faguni.
Right.
P. Yeah.
P.
Now I said Uttra Faguni is the axis.
Correct.
Now P, the letter P is axis anyway. Pole.
Right.
The word pole comes from P only.
P, correct.
And P is like one line and a circle around it. Now the circle rotates around the line.
Right.
So it's the axis and that circle rotating around it. That's what P is. And it is connected with Uttra Faguni. It's not a random thing. So for example, if you take any sound like Ra sound, like Ra is the sun in Egyptians.
Egyptians.
Okay. And in the Vedic thing, what is Ram? The same thing becomes Ram. Ram came from what? The line of the Sun Kings.
Sun. Yeah.
Suryavanshi Sun Kings. Well, the same Sun Kings in Egypt are Ra.
Amun-Ra.
Ram. Yeah, Amun-Ra, Ra. Yeah, which is the same thing. It's the same thing, actually. Yeah. And R is a rotation.
Right.
The letter R is in Sanskrit also is Ra, and in English also it's a rotation. The same rotation. And that rotation is from light to matter.
Wow.
When you rotate light, you get into matter.
Fantastic.
Light is nothing but rotating light. That is the concept of, that's how sun makes matter, or sunlight creates photosynthesis, becomes food. It's that rotation of a straight light into that thing. So, I mean, these things, like if you say ka, for example, ka.
Yeah.
Ka is charge.
Hmm.
Ka means charge. You know, that's what it's the first letter of the Devanagari Sanskrit. Ka, 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 ka. So ka is charge. And like if you say ba, for example, B, it's vehicle. Ba means vehicle. And that's where the word Kabbalah. Spirit is the amount of coherent charge in any being. Amount of spirit any being has, is the amount of coherent charge they have.
Coherent.
You know, but the ka thing is always charge. If you don't understand phonetics and the root meanings of words and terms, and you're trying to understand nakshatras, you're not going anywhere. Again, I'm just giving you an example.
Correct.
Like if you don't understand the things from so many different other angles,
Absolutely.
You can't study nakshatras. So, like, study of nakshatras or Jyotish is not a study of Jyotish or nakshatras. It's study of everything as a whole.
Right.
Yeah. And if you have that knowledge as a whole of different things, then can only you can include in nakshatras. In the nakshatra book, I just gave, like, it's like a trailer.
Yeah.
My nakshatra to a movie, right? It's like a trailer. I'm giving you a little bit of hints.
And when can we see the movie? When can we see the whole movie? So when are you going to come with a head-time movie rather than
Yeah, the movie is like as a whole, like, I mean, my whole life. I'll live my lifestyle like that movie. You know, if you go, somebody goes to my Lotus Station channel, YouTube channel and stuff, like, they'll see a movie, like they'll see all kinds of things. Which is, or if they read my vlogs or things like that, like, then that is a whole lot of different aspects to it. But then there are so many aspects to it which, like, can only be learned in person. For example, in the ancient parampara, like, it was Guru Shishya parampara, like, where you actually, Guru is actually speaking and then you are hearing, and that's how learning happens. And that's how I think learning happens, on a interaction level. That's the only way. It doesn't happen through books.
It's happening right now. You know,
It's happening right now. Yeah, it's happening right now.
And it's happening. The Guru Shishya parampara is going on.
Yes, that's happening. I think that's the only way it happens, or it can work. It can't work any other way. Like, if you go and people go into browsing Google, and there's so much info out there, but there's so much misinfo out there as well. How will you know which is information, which is misinformation?
Correct.
Okay. And again, the same with books, same with everything, all of that. You know, so something which is like, when Guru and that thing, Shishya Parama, everything happened from an actual real basis, like from basics are strengthened, then you are given that thing, then you're given discernment, then you're given all of these things, and then accordingly things happen. You know, like, I mean, even in the book, that's why I didn't reveal much information in that book.
Right.
I just gave pointers.
But
like,
that itself was enough for many of us. That those pointers is something that.
I just gave pointers just to, like, how it is. That there's a much bigger world. This is a much bigger, vaster thing. So that people come out of their little boxes.
Correct.
You know, so whatever little box you are in, like, if you read, somebody reads a book, they'll think, oh yeah, there's something more to this, all this thing. That's all. Like, this Brahmand also is more to it. Like, you know, not what they're telling in school and stuff, that there are all these planets everywhere, and that's not what it is. We are actually realms. Like, we are in a physical realm, there are higher realms, there are lower realms. We live in realms. That's why planet is a plane. And, you know, even in the last interview I had, you know, I had talked about that Earth is actually flat, and then it became very controversial. The whole thing. Yeah, but it is, like, I mean, it is a plane. Like,
Right.
Earth is a plane, that's why it's called a planet. It is inherent in the word plane, T. Plane crossing. Yeah, T is a crossing. T junction. Everybody knows what a T junction is.
Yeah.
I mean, all English letters are what they mean. What they are drawn like, that's what they are. So if B is drawn like breasts, then the word breast starts with B only.
Yeah.
I mean, English is a very scientific language in that way. And so is Sanskrit. Those are the two scientific languages, English and Sanskrit. Okay. And English is even more scientific in certain ways because it has been combined to give the more modern thing. Like, there's no word like fractal, for example, in Sanskrit. Sanskrit doesn't have any equivalent of the word fractal.
Right.
Okay. Because Sanskrit was, for rishis also, it was an evolving language. It is not a completed language. New words had to be made in Sanskrit.
Because originally, I think it was called as Prakrit, isn't it? Before it was called as.
Yeah. But it's an evolving language. It's still not finished. And English is not either. But English has evolved more because more inputs have come in from the Egyptian thing, from the Latin thing, which is Egyptian only, and all of that. So it is getting more words like pyractal, and all of that. All of those things, words came in. Ra has come in, the turtle. Like English has a lot of ALs in ELs.
Right.
So like EL is actually energy of the Kundalini.
EL, okay.
So EL is like the 1.5 turn of Kundalini called serpent.
Right.
Okay. And so the word elder meant the being Kundalini is awakened.
Wow.
So elder didn't mean that the ones who's older than you. So like you're supposed to respect your elders. You're not supposed to respect your olders. But by Indian thing, you have to respect older only because they don't understand any of this.
Yeah.
Like in Indian, that thing means like just respect the older, but which is nonsense because the older might be totally mad and that thing. What are you going to do about that then? Why would you respect that? So English had separate words for elder and older. And India and Hindi, no such words existed.
Right.
For elder and older, like, so they don't understand what the meaning difference is. Like these people are more in age than me, or these people know something more than me, or their Kundalini is awakened, so they are a different, more evolved being.
Right.
There's no separations for that. So I'm just giving you some examples in that how language, the word language even comes from land gauge.
Right.
How you gauge the land. Every time you speak a language, you actually program.
Right.
You are programming yourself every time you speak something.
Have you got any examples that you can show, how numerology is also associated with the nakshatras? Is there something that you've seen?
I mean, it's always going to be connected. You can look at anything like, Bharani is a female nakshatra, like, so it's true.
Yeah.
Correct. Ashwini, where sun is that thing exalted is 1, Aries.
Correct.
Aries is 1, 2. Ashwini is 1. Sun gets negative exaltation. The polar masculine principle.
Correct.
Like now in numerology, sun will be associated with number 1 then. So which is the more masculine principle. And then the feminine principle is the lunar principle, moon. So now moon exalted in the second sign, that's why.
In Taurus.
Yeah, like just like sun gets in the first one.
Yeah.
Moon gets in the second one.
Right.
And the nakshatra which is there, Rohini, which is moon, that thing.
Yeah.
Which is what number is like Rohini?
Number 4.
Number 4, okay. So 1, 2 becoming 4.
Right.
Everybody likes that.
Yeah.
Everybody wants 1, 2 to become 4, to become 8, to become. Everybody wants that in 1 to go 4. Like
1 to go 4.
1 to go 4. Rohini gives that. Like so that's why. Like do you understand? Like you know, like so. So the numbers will never that thing.
Right.
You go to the numbers, you will get to the picture of that thing.
Right.
If picture as creative, then it's got the 5 energy in it. It's the 5th nakshatra.
Which one? Vrikshara, yeah, 5. Yeah.
Vrikshara is the 5th. Like so, then it'll automatically be creative.
5th house of creativity.
5th house of creativity. So the 5th house, the same thing. Like all of that will keep on coming. These things will never not combine with each other perfectly.
Coming to Ardra, which is the number 6.
Yeah.
And the axis of Ardra and Mula. Mula, they say, is the center of our galaxy. So have you seen anything, because you talked about the axis of Uttara Bhadrapada and Uttara Falguni. What is this axis of, because you see the male dog and the female dog, Mula and Ardra. So is there some connection?
Where the souls come in from and out from.
Wow.
Because Ardra is Betelgeuse. Like
Betelgeuse,
that is Orion.
Orion, yeah.
Orion and center of galaxy.
Right.
It is the axis on which souls enter and leave.
Wow.
Earth plane. And that's why the Egyptians had so much attention on Orion. Yeah. Egyptians had everything. Pharaohs had the pyramids pointing towards Orion and Sirius. So they want their soul to immediately go through Orion out. Because they didn't want rebirth, which is they don't want like cycle of birth and death. So once they want out to the higher planes of the immortal world. They don't want to come back. So these are gates. These are called two gates: Orion gate and the Mula gate. There are 2 gates, and that's a Shiv Kali counterpart. Like Shiv will be Adra and Kali will be. Whole Shiv Kali energy is active in both things. And Adra creates chaos and commotion and things like that, which people associate with 6th house. People don't like 6th house in a chart, that's why. It's the same kind of thing, you know. So people don't like that much, like you're saying. But it is necessary energy. You know?
Right.
And it is charge as well. There's a charge and electric charge, that thing, you know. And for example, like I have like my Venus and Adra and things.
Right.
So I only like electrical, that thing. I only play electric guitar and play electric stuff only. Because to me it's like a shifting, electricity shift.
Right.
So that is the whole thing. So Adra has its own that thing in that way. Like, and the Orion connection is there. I mean, there are a lot of layers to each nakshatra like that, which you can go into. Like more and more, depends on how much you know. How much do you actually know about the multiverse you are living in? Which people know very little right now. People have a very little idea of where they are. So that's why the whole discussion with nakshatras becomes very difficult.
Correct.
Because the lack of knowledge in all associated, science is not there properly. People don't know why Vishnu is holding a conch in his hand.
Yeah.
Like, he's holding a conch in his hand because conch has golden ratio. It's a golden ring spiral. Yeah, so it's phi ratio.
High ratio.
Is there.
Yeah.
Which is what the nature works on. So if they have that image, they will not even understand what that means. Like, you know, the symbology. The thing is that without the science, without the actual knowing, and without that thing, one can't understand nakshatras like rishis understood that.
So do you see a connection with what you mentioned about phi and this a pattern that you see in the phi? Is there any connection with Punarvasu? Because that is again about repetition, isn't it? Patterns repeating. So it is
exactly. Yeah. Like it is coming back to the thing like a boomerang.
Yeah.
You throw the boomerang, it comes back to you. You know.
So you throw good karmas will come back to you. You throw bad karmas will come back.
Yeah. Punarvasu is like that thing, repetition.
Right.
Punar, and good again.
Good again.
Punar, good again. So it's like a change of direction, like you can say. Like if you were going down a downward path, you stop and you change direction.
Right.
Towards an upward path, like you can say.
Correct.
I mean, even Daksha made that change.
Mm-hmm.
Once his head got cut off,
yeah,
and he was humiliated. He made the change after that. He did bow to Shiv afterwards.
Right.
Punarvasu is that, which happens after Adra only.
Yeah.
Because in Adra, all the fighting happens.
Yeah,
all that thing happens, and then Punarvasu is that thing which comes out of that. You know, the final result, which comes out of that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the phi ratio is definitely connected with both those nakshatras, Adra and Punarvasu, in that way.
All right. Okay. Both Adra as well as Punarvasu. Okay.
Yeah. So it will be connected to both. Yeah. I mean,
no, I wanted to ask you another question that when you look at all the nakshatras, okay, the 27 nakshatras that we have, every nakshatra has a male and a female counterpart, except for one nakshatra, which is Uttarashada, which is a male mongoose. It doesn't have a female counterpart. Is there any way that we can interpret this? What is your interpretation, Prash? How do you see Uttarashada as a nakshatra?
Okay, there are two ways we can see it first. Like, okay, Uttarashada is another animal which I associate with it is elephant.
Yeah.
Okay, now elephant has male, female both. So that aspect is there. Uttarashada is mostly about victory of divine over evil, good over bad, and that is its basic that thing. Victory over good over evil or good over bad or things like that.
Sure.
But for that, one has to have an understanding of what is good and what is bad. But right now, people don't know what is good or what is bad. Right now, like Uttarashada game will become just cops and robbers. Cops are the good guys and robbers are the bad guys. But robbers might be the good guys. Who knows? What if cops are the bad guys?
Right.
I mean, Uttarashada only works through divine judgment.
Right.
The divine decides what is good, what is bad.
Right.
Not people or the human laws or man-made laws deciding this kind of thing. So Uttarashada is about like dharma as a whole from divine.
Right.
Not man-made laws. But if you connect Uttarashada with man-made laws, then you will create cycle.
Got it. Yeah,
people will think, oh no, you have to follow the law, you have to follow this, you have to follow this, you have to follow that. So Uttarashada people will be just doing that in this world, you know, like about this thing. But when it is not about this, real Uttarashada is about what is the divine law. Like how Krishna told to Arjun, like if you do as per what I am telling you, then that is the right thing, but not by his own sense of it.
Right.
Arjun had his own sense of righteousness.
Yeah.
Which was not the real righteousness.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what Krishna educates him about what the real righteousness is. So that's Uttarashada, actually.
What about Purvashada, its predecessor? How do you see that?
Very oceanic energy.
Apa energy.
Apa. Like which is Aphrodite.
Aphrodite. Yeah.
Yeah, which is why Venus is there.
Mm.
Venus is Aphrodite.
Correct.
So Venusian energy is there, and Venus always gets that thing. If it gets Jupiter base, it gets better.
Mm.
In Purvashara, if you know, Venus and Jupiter are combining.
Yeah.
Jupiter is sign and Venus is Nakshatra. Okay. And where does Venus get maximum exaltation?
Pisces.
Pisces, which is Jupiter sign.
Jupiter.
So when the two gurus meet, like so, Purvashara will have a lot of that thing. Both gurus are together.
Yeah. Shukracharya as well as Brahaspati.
And both gurus are together. It creates a lot of that kind of energy, like very upbeat, very loud, very vociferous, it is totally out and about and loud nakshatra.
Guru Shukracharya was the preceptor of the Asuras and Brahaspati was of the Devas. So do you see when the two gurus come together in Purvashada, they kind of give you these, pull or in different directions? Is there some connotation like that, or is there?
No,
It's amplified. It's amplified.
It's not like that. In this, Venus rules.
Oh, Venus rules.
Jupiter provides the base and Venus rules in Purvashara.
So that is how you look at every nakshatra. Is you take the Rashi, the zodiac base
as the base. Then the nakshatra is the ruler.
Right.
Nakshatra, that thing is ruler.
Right.
Yeah. Jupiter is the ocean, like Pisces, like ocean. And the waves are there, and the goddess is surfing on the waves.
Wow.
So that is Aphrodite.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So that's Lakshmi as well. That whole Venusian thing comes on top of it. So the roles are very clear in both. Who is where?
That makes it three nakshatras. We talked about Uttara Bhadra, we talked about Uttara Falguni, and now we're talking about Purvashada. Again, the Lakshmi energy. And surprisingly, you see many charts I've seen of, the super wealthy. You find that some of these nakshatras become very prominent. Uttara Bhadrapada, Uttara Falguni, Purvashada, I've seen Rohini, all of these.
Rohini, but the thing is, that is the thing. But right now, money has become that thing of Lakshmi, because Lakshmi has nothing to do with money. Okay.
She's Ashtalakshmi.
No. Lakshmi has nothing to do with money. Like Lakshmi.
Right.
Lakshmi just means Laksha. Laksha means
aim,
goal, and getting of the goal.
Right.
Right now, getting money has become one of the goals. It's become one of the goals, and it has become the major goal.
Correct.
It has become major goal for people. Okay, right. So then people are calling that, and then people are calling that Lakshmi.
Right.
But reality is like goal is like, okay, if your goal is like I have to get knowledge, or if I have to get into higher worlds, I don't want to another cycle of birth and death out here. I don't want to go into pain, hell, and torture. If these are your goals, then Lakshmi will give that. And Lakshmi is actually for that.
Right.
Really.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Not for these kind of goals. Okay. But since people make that their goal, money, then these nakshatras will give that.
Right.
Because what is their thing? Their thing is goal should be fulfilled. Whatever the goal may be.
Yeah. Brings me to the next one more nakshatra, which is Dhanishta. Dhana Ishta. Dhwani Ishta. Dhwani means sound. So how do you see Dhanishta? And I think you mentioned about Dhanishta, and you had some special insights that you wanted to share with us, specific with Dhanishta.
Yeah, Dhanishta is it's the beat.
The beat, yeah.
Rhythm.
Yeah.
And it's a Shiv, it's Shiv's energy.
Right.
Shiv's Damru that's Dhanishta, that's beat.
Yeah.
Now that's a beat of time, is the beat. Dhanishta is Aquarius, it's the Shiv energy. This is my Ascendant Nakshatra, right? That's my Ascendant. Okay. It's everything to do with beat only. And that thing, and time pearl. So even if you think of like this time, this is happening, that is this time, what thing happens, and all of that. That comes under the Dhanishta only. So that way Jyotish will come under that too. Because it's timing.
It's science of time.
Science of time. It's like creating a time body. If you want to create a time body, like Shiva has a time body, where events actually fall in place according to these kind of things and these kind of patterns and these kind of things. So knowing all those patterns and everything is Dhanishta. And it's music too. Because beat and music and all of that. So those things, both things come, and its dhan is actually dhan of knowledge.
Right. Okay.
It's the wealth of knowledge.
Knowledge.
Yeah, that's the dhan.
Done. Fantastic.
Like Shiv's dhan is what? Shiv's dhan is what knowledge.
Knowledge. Yeah.
So that's the dhan, which is in the second house. People say accumulated. Second house is house of wealth in the
Wealth. Yeah.
Now nowadays it's become bank accounts.
Right.
Yeah, earlier it was like knowledge, like how much knowledge you have.
Yeah.
The same house, different meanings in the senses of what they are, like right now, or what they use. And the same things which happen in other Jyotish, parts of Jyotish, like same things happen in Nakshatra, Like, so that same nonsense which goes into these other things keeps on percolating into Nakshatras as well.
Right.
And people just don't have enough knowledge right now. Actually put things together or make sense of these things, because they lack knowledge of so many other subjects. They have to have mythology complete, know numbers, they have to know phonetics, they have to know the root meanings of words. For example, if you go to a professor of physics in any university and you ask them, okay, tell me what does physics mean? Like just one question, like what does physics? They won't know. No professor of any university in the world will not know what physics means. So people are that disconnected from the root. They are supposedly expert in something, but they don't know anything about it.
Right.
Even the word physics comes from phi.
Right.
Pi ratio, and 6 means comes from the word scissor. Cutting up of pi ratio.
Right.
So cutting up of that pi ratios in various ways is physics. Yeah.
Interesting.
But people don't know any of these things. So they don't even know what topic they're dealing with. Right now, such compartmentalization has been created in the world. Okay, they say physics is different from chemistry, is different from mathematics.
Right.
How can that be? How can chemistry and physics be that thing, or biology be different, or this? It just makes no sense. In the ancient Vedic way, no such compartmentalization existed in the first place. It's like not like Ashwini Kumaras will have to know Jyotish.
Yeah.
They'll know Vastu too.
Correct.
They'll know herbs too. They'll know maths too. They'll know divine science too. They'll know. There's nothing they would not know in order to do what they have to do.
So what do you have to say about Shravana? The learning year.
Shravana is like, what we were talking about. I said like knowledge can only be passed through listening and that.
Listening, Gurukul system.
Only that way can be done, because for it to embed in your brain. Because like if you're listening to something and somebody doesn't understand something or is misunderstanding that, the guru can correct it and stuff like that.
Right.
Then the student will speak and the guru will hear. And the guru will know what's wrong with that, and then he'll correct it.
Right.
You can read a book.
Right.
You read some sentence. Now you can interpret it any which way you want, and there's nobody there to correct you. You are just with yourself then from that point. That way things can't really happen really. So and the Shravan is the most. That's the learning. And it is Capricorn, right? It's actual real learning, practical learning.
Practical learning.
It's practical. It's commonsensical. It's practical. It's where Saturn is there. It has to be actually real. Yeah, if you don't have the Shravan process, if you have not gone through the whole that thing, you can't put that into action or put that into process. People are not good listeners these days. Anyways, people need something very fast. Their listening capacity is not there as a whole. That brings me to like when Shiv was talking to Parvati. Then he would be talking for like thousands of years. Now she has to listen for thousands of years. And that's where Parashar and stuff, a lot of got their knowledge of Jyotish from. Like even Parashar, Hora Shastra, if you say the first, that thing, it starts with Shiv spoke to Parvati.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
That's how it starts. Like Shiv spoke. Like so that the listening ability has to be there. So that's why Shiv can be Guru of Parvati only. Like who can listen for that long. Like people will fall asleep right now. If somebody starts speaking, then that thing, and if they keep on going deeper, then within half an hour, 2 hours, they'll fall asleep. It'll be too much for them. That's where the listening, it's Vishnu thing is like, it's eternal listening all the time. Like Vishnu can always listen. He's lying on that thing, but he never falls asleep. Even though he's lying on bed, he doesn't fall asleep. Normal person, you put them on the bed, within 5 minutes, they'll be gone.
That's right.
Yeah. Because the hearing ability is there.
Yeah.
So if Vishnu is speaking to Lakshmi, then Lakshmi is listening. If Lakshmi speaks, then Vishnu listens. Then Vishnu is listening to the whole world as well.
Right.
Whatever is happening in the whole multiverse, as a whole, he's continuously listening to it. And that's why he's smiling too, because he's hearing all of that as a whole. So that's why it's Vishnu's nakshatra. Because Shiv is speaking more.
Okay.
Shiv is not much into listening.
And Vishnu is into listening.
Yeah. Shiv is speaking continuously. He has all the knowledge. He's opened the third eye, and that thing, from that, all the knowledge keeps on coming out. Like pouring out. Like, which Parvati has to contend with.
Right.
So that's the difference between. So that's why Shravan and Dhanishta. Dhanishta is Shiv and Shravan and Vishnu, but they're together. Yeah.
And then how about Satabishak? What do you see Satabishak's energy to be?
Shatabishak is a very, very, it's like radio waves, X-ray, all of that. Things you can't see. You can't see radio waves. Even when your radio is catching AM, FM and that thing, the waves come from the lighting, they go up and they come back. You don't see anything. All beyond your visual, oral range.
Wow. Fantastic.
Yeah. That's how the realms are. I mean, right now there can be other beings existing which are parallel to us. In this world, they exist. They are in your room, they can be in this room, but you can't see them.
What sort of beings that you would see?
There are a lot of kind of beings, there are a lot of elementals and things which exist in this world.
Right.
On Earth only, but we can't see them. That is all Shatabishak for human beings.
Right. Oh, this is really brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. And like Shata means 100, like physicians, or 100 things.
Correct.
And I'm saying there are hundreds of beings, hundreds of types of beings exist. That's what it means. Shata, hundreds of types of these beings exist. That's why I don't even want to take one name or anything.
Right. Yeah. We have never looked at Shatabishak from that angle. So, this is absolutely fantastic insights that you're giving us, which I've not found in your book as well. So I think
in the book, I didn't even put 1% of anything in my book. Book was a very like a little that thing to just tell like what are the possibilities.
Correct.
Little glimpse into the possibilities. That's all. If keep on speaking and somebody keeps on, then that book will be like more than combined with Burke's or Shakespeare, and it'll be like huge. It will not be a book then. It'll be something else. Like you'll need like whole like rooms full of that thing to just show that.
I wish we could even get to see even 2% of what you've been talking about. I think that would be a great for us.
Yeah. The whole thing I can't even talk about because if I lead one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, leads to another topic, like leads to so many things that it is a combined thing as a whole.
Right.
My point is just this, that one should treat knowledge as a whole, holistic,
yeah.
Like even right now, holistic living, like if you have to live like healthily, you have to be holistic, and the whole thing in the same way. Like you have to take care of what you eat, what you drink, where you're staying, what you're doing, everything. In the same way, knowledge is a holistic thing, and little knowledge is a dangerous thing. And everything has little knowledge right now. People just go for little bit.
Little knowledge.
Yeah. And compartmentalization is the absolute that thing. That's the absolute no. Like if you go on compartmentalization, you're gone. If people think, I'm just going to study Jyotish, like a lot of people, I just want to study astrology. People say, I just want to study astrology. I mean, I said, what do you mean by you want to study astrology? Like, I only want to study maths. I only want to study this. I mean, it's not like that.
Right.
For anything, if you really want to study, you will have to have every other thing too. You can't study anything in isolation.
Right.
There's no point to it. There's nothing to it. You're a being as a whole. Like, you can't say like, I just want to study the eyes, but you have ears, you have mouth, you have nose, you have that thing. I mean, what does that mean? Like,
Fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, your body is as a whole. Yeah. You function as a whole. When you die, your spirit is going to come out as a whole. The current charge, which is in your body, which is going to come out as a whole. And in the modern things, they did that because they created colleges and universities. Only because they wanted people to just be in particular fields and that thing and not come to know the whole picture. They did this stuff, like in which people will be okay. You are just this physics person or you're the chemistry person, but you never know the whole picture.
So we have been kept away from knowing the whole picture.
You have just one piece. You just put that, then you don't get anything from that. Only when you put all the pieces together, then a picture forms. So there are beings who wanted normal people to not have any clear picture of anything. Okay, so then they give them compartmentalization, so they'll waste their time.
And they'll never get to see the entirety of the thing.
Of the whole thing. Yeah. And so one should always be going for the entirety. Compartmentalization is the absolute that thing when it comes to knowledge.
Right.
Hurdle. If you compartmentalize anything, and that's why like people are compartmentalizing all kinds of things, like this is my child, this is my this thing, this is my husband, this is my work, this I have to do this line like this now. If you do all these things, you can never get knowledge.
I think, whatever you've been saying, I think we can go on for another couple of hours. This is absolute brilliant knowledge that you're giving us. And this is something which is out of the box. Prash, we probably have to do another session with you, right? Yeah. Because this is too much of enormous knowledge for us to even, grasp in this one session. But thank you very much. This has been a great session that we have had today. But here, tell me something about, if people want to reach out to you, to connect with you, how they can get to you. I mean, Is there a YouTube channel that you...
YouTube, I have Lotus Ocean. My everything is Lotus Ocean.
Right. Okay.
I call it Lotus Ocean. That's it. So if they say go to lotusocean.net,
Right.
everything of mine is there from there, like which is online. Whatever online things I have are there. Sure. And youtube.com is Lotus Ocean.
Right.
My blog is lotusocean.blogspot.com.
Right.
It's also Lotus Ocean. Everything is under Lotus Ocean banner.
Okay. And do you teach or do you do any consultations?
I mean, the thing is, I hardly ever look at charts usually.
Okay.
Like that's like somebody who is very keen and interested in spiritual progress or going into things like that. Then only will I that thing.
Right. Okay. And you don't teach. You don't teach either.
And teaching also not like we had a course, beginner Jyotish course or something which was there.
Sure.
Which my people look after all that, but I personally don't.
Okay.
Deal with.
So, but if people want to go and buy these courses, they can buy it from your website.
They can do that, but that's a beginner kind of thing.
Right.
Just for people who are just starting, there's nothing advanced about it at all.
Okay.
Advanced things I don't do it at all. Like, there's nothing, I'm just talking to you, for example, right now.
Yeah.
It's just because you have been reading my things and you have been like that about it. Like,
yeah.
I just want to so there's some things will come out like that. Otherwise I don't do any such thing, because I just don't find that format right. Like where you're just, right now, like these days, gurus are standing and shishyas are sitting, and that is not how it used to be. Like the Guru Shishya Parampara is very, very different. Like, and with that kind of thing, you can actually not learn knowledge. The way seminars happen out there, the way things happen in this world right now, in the format they happen,
right.
They are not designed to actually cultivate any real knowledge. Like it'll be going into your one ear and going out of the other, and nothing is going to come from that.
That's what happens with these days. The students, they don't want to work hard. They just want to be given notes, written notes, printed material.
All of this has nothing to do with actual learning and knowledge, as it used to happen in the Vedic times, where it starts with the basics. And students these days don't have any basics even. They're not even eating the proper food. They're not eating proper veg diet. They're not grounding. They're not centering. They're not doing any of these things. So you can't learn anything.
Yeah.
If you don't touch ground every day, at least for 10-15 with your bare feet, then your body is in balance anyways.
So the charge in your body, in the body is not going to be grounded.
Body is electrical equipment. Yeah, body is electrical equipment. Body is electric. Our body is electrical. Our brain signals, everything is electric in our body. So, and if you're not doing that, even all TVs and everything have 3-pin plugs.
Yeah.
And the third pin is for grounding only.
Yeah. You have to ground the energies.
Yeah, you have to ground the energy for even electrical devices, electronic devices. Then how come you don't do it for body? I don't know.
Body.
So people don't have any basics.
Correct.
So if you don't have any basics, then you are not ready for learning. You're not ready for anything. Even in a house, you make the foundation first. Properly.
Right.
And then you build the house. If you just build the house just like that, it'll just fall.
Yeah.
Without any foundation. Foundation nobody cares about right now. Like people just want something like just like that. Like just some mangoes or apples growing here and there. You can pluck and eat. Like that's all.
What the guru is giving them. They don't bother about going to the roots, because your book on Rahu and Ketu, your book on the sun, your book on nakshatras, these are all path-breaking work. And I really feel that people should start learning from the basics, as you mentioned. If your foundation is strong, that's when you can have a strong tree. Prash, what you have done with this session and also with your books is you have actually given us this foundation.
Finally, you have to evolve as a being. If you have no control over your destiny, what is the point of Jyotish?
Absolutely.
If you don't gain any control over your own destiny completely, if I die, I should be able to go where I want to go. Like that, if you don't have that, then what is the point?
Yeah.
If you're continuously that thing, if you don't have any power in this world or other world, then there's no point if you don't take control of your destiny. So, those things are the real things, This is just madness, about this whole thing. Like even learning astrology has become a very mad thing. Everybody wants to learn astrology. I think, in India, almost every other person wants to learn astrology.
Yeah, but what has happened today in the last 100 years, people have only looked at Jyotish as a predictive science.
Even though they have looked at that only, but they still have not gotten to any predictive system as yet. Still, which are in the Nadi system and stuff like that. There are predictive systems which they have not gotten to. Nakshatras play a very strong part in the predictive system as well. Lord, sublords, and sub-sublord. things in which nakshatras are key to the predictive thing as well. You divide them to 3 degrees, 20 minutes, then that you get 1 pada, 4 padas. So then you've gotten to that sub, and then you can get to lower degrees and that thing. So you can predict very accurately actually using that. But I mean, that I would not even reveal in any book or anything. This is the kind of thing, Astra, you don't give it to kids. You don't give knife to kids.
Correct.
If you give a big knife like this to a 3-year-old, what will they do?
Yeah.
They'll hurt themselves.
Absolutely.
What I want people to do is go into basics and then get into a holism.
Okay.
Basics and holism. 2 key words, basics and holism.
Holism. Right.
Yeah. Holistic. No compartmentalization and basics. Those things. And that's how you come to know more about nakshatras. And people, if they come out to know about nakshatras or any other thing, I'll be happy about it.
Wow.
Yeah. And that is the only way to do it. Without getting confused, without getting into all kinds of problems. That's what I'm saying that. And I've done it myself.
Right.
For myself. So I'm the proof of that it can be done. It's not like I'm just speaking this without doing something first. I've applied that, and that's what works. Other things do not work. Like all of your listeners or whosoever, they should understand that and try to apply that into their lives. The basics into their lives and things like that. So if they're actually serious about it.
Yeah. No, I think, Prash, we have had such a wonderful discussion today. I must really, really thank you. This was so valuable information. I don't think we would have got this information from, reading from books. People can take this cue that you have been telling about, how to study, how to learn, how to master, how to even connect with these nakshatras by simple means, like phonetics, you said symbols, you said, numerology, numbers, all these systems.
Real science.
Real mathematics. So
real mathematics and connection with nature is most important.
Yes.
If you don't have connection with nature, there's no nakshatras which exist even.
This is very, very, I think this is the most important.
People who are studying nakshatras actually have never even seen a nakshatra. They have never even gone, they have not seen Orion, they have not seen BTTs, they have not seen that thing. They have not even seen the stars or Spica or any of these things.
Yeah.
They won't even know where in the sky these things are actually.
Correct.
So then it makes up for a very laughable sort of situation. Like you have not any personal experience of it, the whole thing.
Yes.
For example, like the same thing, cow. Like if somebody who has not gone on a bullock cart, will never understand rowing. Yeah. You have had to travel in that one time to know what that pace is. So I mean, there's these connections which you have to that thing. I mean, if somebody has not dealt with cows, directly, then they won't understand what Pusha and Rohini is about.
Absolutely.
Both those nakshatras you can understand. And then again, Uttara Bhadpad, you will have trouble understanding too. Uttara Phalguni too.
All the cows, the cow element.
So how they are, and if you not spend any time with cows and stuff, then you will have. And so nature is there. You have to connect to it, like Jim said.
Absolutely fantastic. And I would like to really thank you spending your precious time and sharing this knowledge with us. Prash, we'll get you back again. Another time to speak about another topic on nakshatras, whenever you have the time.
Okay, that's fine. Then not a problem.
So thank you very much for coming, and namaste. Thank you.